Hello, my name is Andrew Haskins. I am Head of Strategy and Investor Advisory Real Estate for Schroders Capital in Asia Pacific. In many Asian countries, the perceived need to buy and own residential property is ingrained into national culture and mindset. However, this is starting to change, partly through regulatory changes intended to discourage speculative investment. For example, as part of China's Common Prosperity Policy Drive. In addition, across Asia Pacific, we see economic factors which are starting to help drive demand for rented rather than owned accommodation. Two factors to highlight are continuing migration to large cities, which applies to both developed and emerging markets, and increasing residential prices, which have made homes in the leading cities of the region hard to afford. Multifamily apartments, called the build-to-rent sector in Australia, are institutionally owned complexes which seek to meet the increasing need for rented accommodation in certain markets. Co-living is a closely related concept, while senior living is a more specialized asset type. Although Japan's population is now declining, the population of the big cities, especially Tokyo, is still growing as people move in from other regions. Notably, the number of households in Tokyo is growing at a faster rate than the population, reflecting the increase in the number of single-person households, which now equal about 50% of the total. This growth in single-person households is driving stable demand for rented homes. In addition, the multifamily sector is regulated in Japan, meaning that tenants are well protected. Demand is growing in Australia for similar reasons to Japan, especially in Sydney and Melbourne, where white-collar demand and employment growth are concentrated. China is a market with particular long-term potential. Rented accommodation in general now enjoys strong policy support from the Chinese authorities, which are planning large-scale construction of rented homes as part of the Common Prosperity Drive. Furthermore, China continues to see migration to the large cities. Shanghai's population, for example, is growing by 120,000 every year, and private homes are particularly hard to afford, with average price to average annual household income ratios of over 20 times. This factor should drive demand for multifamily rented apartment complexes in the Tier 1 cities. Conversely, there may be less demand for multifamily apartments in Singapore, where there is high stock of high quality apartments subsidized for purchase by the government under the country's HDB scheme. Investors following core strategies, typically core real estate investment strategies, typically seek stable income at low risk. In Asia Pacific, the number one market for core investment strategies is Japan, together also with Australia and South Korea. Now, if you look at multifamily rented apartments, they offer the opportunity to increase income for a core investment portfolio through stable rental payments, and that is a source of income which is very resistant to cyclical downturn. However, there are risks, including policy changes and capped or limited rental payments. Furthermore, institutional investors following core strategies typically need to achieve quite substantial scale to offset the high cost and operational complexity of running, of managing and running residential property. So core investors may not achieve adequate returns unless they build up sizable property portfolios. Value add real estate investors, in contrast, seek to achieve returns by upgrading or repositioning underperforming properties, or by converting them to other uses. Full-scale conversion may only be possible in markets, or is only possible in certain markets, depending on the regulations specific to that market. In Hong Kong, the correction in hotel prices caused by prolonged travel bans and a closed border has created the opportunity to reposition hotel assets to multifamily apartments or co-living properties targeting long stays. After conversion, the refurbished, upgraded apartments should achieve higher rents than comparable properties managed by individual landlords. And a value add fund manager, after upgrading or converting a property, will seek to realize profits by selling the asset on to core or core plus or other investors.